Party with your host, Dustin Rybka.
Hello and welcome to Sex Party. I'm your host, Dustin Rybka. With me on the show this week is Tatum Zoe. Tatum is a sex enthusiast and a podcast host. This episode is wild. This episode is so much fucking fun. Tatum and I talk about a threesome scenario between her partner, and a sex doll. We chat about tampons getting stuck inside vaginas during sex. We chat about the anxiety around producing a podcast. Tatum teaches a masterclass in how to have a perfect hoe face towards the end of the episode. And she also goes through the burner. So grab your popcorn, make sure it's buttered, and enjoy my conversation with Tatum Zoe.
This week's conversation.
Tatum Zoe, welcome to Sex Party. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. We talked a bit earlier about how it is currently in this timeline. It is Monday. Mondays are not my favorite. I know some fucking Gary Vaynerchuk people out there are like, Mondays rule. And I get it. And I love you guys, but like not for me. So we're dealing with a bit of construction and lack of caffeine, all of the things, you know?
Yeah, well, I think that's the beauty of Monday, and what I try to like bring into Mondays is like, we're recording this on a Monday. I'm not sure when your episodes drop. Mine do on the Mondays. And I'm like, here's one thing to make this a little better. Like, yeah, Monday might suck, but like, let's bring some fun to it in a way that we know how.
For sure. Like that might save someone's life, actually. Like they're out in the middle of traffic. They're going to jump in front of a bus and get that notification that you put a new episode out. And they're like, you know what? Not today. Yeah. Not today. I got an episode to listen to. Then we'll reevaluate.
Yeah.
And that's really great too, because I think your episodes are fun, and also like, again, we talked a teeny bit about this before we started recording, but like it's the same thing like with my show. We try to provide value, but like we might get covered in you know, God knows what on the way to that value. So everybody buckle up, right?
Yeah.
So for the people who don't know you, they've never seen you, they've never heard your name. Could you talk a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Yeah. It's so funny because we were just talking about how I hate introing myself, and then you just
here we are. Yeah. But like do it however you want to do it. You could like you know, you could do something, you totally like pull something out of your back pocket. It doesn't matter. Whatever you want to do.
Okay. Well, my name is Tatum Zoe on Instagram. A quick brief on how I started my show is I also am in the lash industry. So that's my day job, is I'm in the beauty industry. And when I was single, I would openly talk about all my clients. Like, I swear people loved coming to me because it was just outlandish conversation, dating stories, stuff like that. And over the last couple of years, I'd been in a relationship, and those kind of like dwindled a little bit, you know, because things change. And then I just started thinking, I'm like, saw all these podcasts coming up, and I'm like, you know what? I should fucking do that. And I was getting a lot of like empowerment from my clients and my friends. They're like, you'd be so perfect at this. You have the voice for it. Like, you're wild. You know, you put crazy stuff out on Instagram. I think that's the other side of it too, is like, I'm a creator. So I do like to have my own twist on the creativity and post just outlandish, funny reels on Instagram. And I think that kind of coincided with my podcast and starting the podcast as well. So yeah, that's, you know, a woman of many trades with a little bit of sarcasm and blue hair and big tits, you know, I don't know. That's just who I am.
No, see, that's a fucking great, that's a great intro. You should feel more confident about introing yourself. That was perfect. That was perfect.
Okay. So here's my thing really quick. I just wanted to say, like, I don't feel like I'm great at being interviewed. I think sometimes I like go off, and I don't even think I answer the questions most of the time. So like, if you need to just like yell at me and holler back, like, we can do that.
I so got you. Like, first of all, I like guest, because I've started to like guest on other people's podcasts.
Yeah.
Guest Dustin is very different from host Dustin. He's a little more, if you can even believe it, he's a little more irresponsible. He's a little more wild. So like whatever. But no, I totally got you. I think this is going to be fucking great. It being I've been chasing you to get on the show for a while. I was like badgering you, like, I don't know, three months ago. And, to be a podcast host, I would say 60% of your time is like badgering people to be on your show. Right. And I've been really lucky to have guests like you who eventually say yes or maybe say yes right away or whatever. But
call me out.
and they're but like people are busy and going through shit.
Yeah,
like we didn't just fucking have 3 years of a pandemic and political chaos. I get it, trust me. And everybody's like doing their own thing. But I'm glad to have you here. All that being said, and I think that this is going to be fucking awesome. And to jump right in. And to your podcast and your content, really, because there's just something about your personality that I think perfectly suits you as a creator.
Thank
and
you.
You do have the blue hair.
Yes.
You are making the great fucking reels. Like the one I just watched was like, like everyone does, like when everything reminds you of him, right? Okay,
yeah.
And but yours was like really funny because it was like so like misleading in the sense you're like, oh, there's no way like she's having sex right now, and then like you back up and you're like doing a protein shake, right? Like very creative, very fun, very sexual, and like that's the kind of shit we love around here. And that combined with the episodes I listen to where you are providing value, but like you're providing it in your own way. So I think that your show, you as a person, like it all fits. A lot of people, I think, struggle to find their brand. It takes a while to find their brand and who they are, but yours seems very well branded. Is that like something that you practice, like tying it all into one thing, or did you just go for it? Or
I mean, that's a really interesting question, and I honestly feel so honored. Like that was such a great compliment. Also, I think the biggest part of like being in this space and being a creative and online and showing, kind of wrapping all of these things together is this is just who I am, Mm-hmm. So like, I think for me, I really stepped into like the fullest version of myself after I got out of a really abusive relationship. And that was back in like 2018. And it was with someone who literally told me, he's like, you just post that online because you want attention. And then I was like, well, you're damn right.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
Who doesn't want attention? And then, like I said, it was a crazy relationship. I dyed my hair blue. I was like, fuck this. I'm like going to be the fullest version of myself. And, sometimes I question, like, am I really going to post, me gagging on a banana in slow-mo on Instagram? But here we are.
Yeah, but like that's what's great about it is that you could tell that that's you know, and I do think, coming out of an abusive relationship, let's just like hit that one right away because
sure.
So you were already posting banana gags and whatever like before? Oh, okay.
No.
Okay, so you went like full on.
Like, I went full on.
Was it because like that was it, like the abusive relationship like pushed you to be your full version of yourself to like fuck that guy, right? Or whatever? Or what was it about the end of that? Did you just felt freer?
Yeah, I think it was a little bit of both. I think it was definitely like a big fuck that guy. Like the relationship was very short, but it lasted a very long time as far as like the trauma, and I had to put a restraining order on him. There was a court case. It was like a whole thing. And I think where it stemmed from is because he was like trying to what's the word, like dull my shine, like trying to like tell me what to wear. Like I would wear a crop top and be like, why are you wearing that? Or I would like feel pretty, like maybe post like a little thirst trap. And then it was like, why are you posting that online? Like we're together type of thing, or like in a bikini or something like that, And I remember so specifically, I actually have a photo on Instagram where I was wearing this hoodie. It was like a zip up hoodie, and I had recently just got my boobs done and they looked really good. And I'm like in the mirror, no bra, with the hoodie zipped up. And I was like, I want to fucking post this on Instagram. It was right when I got out of this relationship. And I posted it and I titled the caption. I was like, my ex always told me that I post stuff like this to get attention. So I call this photo, Give Me Your Attention. And it was like, just something about that moment is like, it like ingrained in my head where I was like, I am never gonna like pretend to be someone I'm not for another man ever. And that was kind of the start of this, you know, stepping into the fullest version of myself and not just having these conversations with my friends, but like with the world, like publicly putting them out online to try and get some feedback or, you know, understanding that like, I'm not the only person going through these things. I'm not the only person talking about sex. Like I wasn't the only person who like queefed when I was changing positions. You know, it's like something so simple like that, where it's like some people would ridicule you for talking about those things, but then you have 20 people in your DMs being like, oh my God, this happened to me too. Like, thank you for sharing, you know?
Yeah, I mean, and that's where the fucking life gold is. And I just think that is such a everything you just said is such a fucking huge, powerful statement, right? Because we love when someone comes into their own. Like the moment in any movie, usually at the end of the fucking training montage, right? Whether it's a boxing movie or a fucking Batman or whatever, but it's like, that moment that the person steps into their shit in the costume for the first time, it's like, yeah, let's fucking go. This is going to be crazy. Then they beat everyone's ass. So like, that's equivalent to your moment right there. Posting that fucking hoodie, titty fucking photo. Like that's the exact same thing, exact same effect. Because I think when someone comes into their shit and they get away from some fucking, you know, court jester that fucking is trying to keep them down, that's a beautiful thing. And I think more people benefit from seeing someone being abused and sorry that happened to you, and someone being ridiculed and like you said, like your shine was dulled, you were being sort of held in a box. And I think, you know, I am a man, I'm going to go ahead and say it, but like men, just mentally, I think the lot of us have this weird thing where we want to keep our pretty little women in these little boxes and shit. And I think for me, at least personally, you know, I grew up around a ton of strong women, and I just never, I had to, my perspective had to flip, and it became this thing where it's like, if everyone in the bar doesn't want to fuck my girlfriend, I'm not dating the right girlfriend. You know what I mean? Like that's
a great way to think about it. I was going to say, like, it's like that meme where it's like, if you like a hot girl doing hot shit, then, or if you don't like a hot girl doing hot shit, then don't date a hot girl. It's like so simple.
Yeah, and it's like these things that we keep getting hung up on, like for instance, about how if a dude like sends like 100 DMs like hey, hello, hi, like whatever, right? And then the girl doesn't respond, and then he's like, fucking slut.
Yeah.
Wait, what? Actually, that's not and you know, if it was like some woman who, you know, was like in a bikini or doing whatever, and she talked to you, she wouldn't be a slut then, right?
Exactly. When she's interested, it wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
Then you're all game.
Yep. And it all comes down to like ego. And like, I think when people, mainly men, obviously act that way, it's such a tell, right? Like people wear their fucking emotions and shit on their sleeves.
Yeah.
And it's like, yo, y'all look weak when you get jealous like that. And like,
it's so unattractive.
Like it's unattractive on a man, on a woman, on anyone, or on a fucking, when your dog gets jealous and acts like an asshole. Like jealousy is not a good look on any creature at all. And I think it's normal to get jealous, but it's what you do with it, right? If you don't switch that perspective, if you don't like whatever, and we like to cover this a lot with like open relationships on the show. It's like, no, the jealousy's still there. You just have to figure out like, what is it going to do for you, and so learning that has been a really unique kind of experience that I think is like really, really valuable, hopefully for the audience too. But when you like stepped out and with your superhero moment, right? Did the podcast like then soon follow after that, or was it a little bit of time? Did you take some time to be in your blue hair, your blue hair face or whatever?
No. So the podcast I didn't start until I think it was 2021. So I think it was really, it was just a slow process. I think a lot of it just started on Instagram, and, I think Instagram has changed like exponentially in the last even like 3-4 years. Mm-hmm. And I really just started posting a lot and doing things for myself. Like if I like it, if I feel sexy, I'm going to go for it, and then that kind of changed my whole, like the way I think about like relationships and dating people and seeing red flags and listening to the red flags, not just seeing them, but actually like, tearing them down and not following through. So no, I think the podcast came, more recently when I was like, this is who I am. And I do think like I could give some value in this space. And I like to have a good time. I do think that I have a good sense of humor, and I think I'm able to like relate that in my show. I also realized over the last couple of years that like I am more anxious than I thought I ever was. And for me, it's like an overwhelming like conversation of me like talking to myself. So it's great when I have like this space and this outlet to just put all of those like thoughts and comments like onto the microphone and into the world.
And what I'm going to say is going to sound really unhealthy, but hey, that's just par for the course around here. So I have like really high functioning weirdo anxiety. And so the podcast for me, as I like grab my sweater and whatever, it's like, as long as I'm recording, editing, doing, and there's, as you know, there's 17 and a half full-time jobs that come with running a podcast. I'm not complaining, but let's just tell them the truth.
It's a lot. I don't edit my show. I'm like, I'm pausing myself if I lose my train of thought, and I'm just putting it out. No, not
right. Yeah. I mean, and everyone's got to do it their own way. But for me, if I get all of my stuff done and it's like Sunday, right? I'm like, oh shit. And then my anxiety starts. It's like when it's quiet.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people where it's like, some people are just like more comfortable in hell. Like I'm more comfortable in hell. Like when there's chaos and problems, I'm like, okay, let's fucking chug 3 Red Bulls and figure this shit out. You know what I mean? So
do you feel like you're comfortable like that? Because it's like, there's still so many other things that need to be done. So it's almost like a distraction from being anxious.
I think so. But I also feel like, so my whole thing is like, how can I use this fucked up thing, the disadvantage that I have? How can I flip it and use it as an advantage? Because like the most successful people I've looked up to have like written about their depression or used some fucking thing in some genius way. So I think that's my version of trying to do that. So there is that. But I also think that like, once you do that for so long, I used to be a nightclub promoter for 15 years. I was really successful.
I can see that. You have like the vibe.
Yeah, for sure. And once you have the vibe, it never leaves you. So whatever. Yeah. But I used to host these really big parties, and it was really chaotic. And I had like 7 or 8 assistants who just quit after the first, whatever. And, and they're like, I don't know how my parents came to one, towards the end, and it was like for a charity event. There's 1,000 people all asking me questions, and they're just like, this is we're really overwhelmed. This is really beautiful, but how you've done this for 15 years,
insane.
So I feel like it's a blessing and a curse, because you do things like that, and like, oh, what's the next stressful thing? Oh, a podcast, right? And I love what I do, but the tricky thing is once you really start using your disadvantage as an advantage, and you start to like get traction or whatever, A, you can't ever stop. And B, if you do take a little moment, that anxiety of not knowing what to do with yourself, it's like I will stand in the grocery store and be like, avocados, like, you know what I mean? I don't know what the fuck's going on. So it's a blessing and a curse, and it sounds like you have similar aspects of that too, because you have taken breaks on your show. And I think that's like fucking healthy to do. Like, if you want, like, talk a little bit about like what made you, because it seemed like you were cooking along bi-weekly episodes for almost a year, and then maybe like you were like, I need to fucking tap out for a second.
It's funny because you're talking about all of this and I'm like seeing so much of myself and how I've like reacted to these things. And last year I told myself, I was like, so the first year I started, I was doing weekly episodes, and I did weekly episodes right off the bat for like 3-4 months, maybe. I just got completely burnt out because, like I said, I have all this other shit. I'm a mom. I have a business. I have people working for my business. Like, there's a lot of other things happening. This was just a hobby for me. So then last year I was like, I'm going to do bi-weekly episodes, like not put as much stress on myself. And the end of last year was a very difficult year for me. Which I hope soon or in the future is something that I can talk about on my show, because I think it would bring a lot of really good awareness to just life in general. But I had like a lot going on, and then my creativity just fucking fell. It was just gone. And that's kind of like, to answer your question, what I've been struggling with, like the end of last year, the beginning of this year. I haven't made any, this is my cat. Sorry.
Cameo. No, you're good.
I haven't made any commitments this year because I don't want to overwhelm myself. And I'm still like in this creative block, which sucks. So yeah, I think I get so overwhelmed because I want to do all these things, and I love this space and I love the podcast, but I'm in this like mental creative block where it's been really hard for me to like pull out what I feel like I need for the show because of some of those other like personal things that were going on, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's so many people go through that, you know, and it's like, it's just something that you sort of kind of float around in until there's like an epiphany or you like fucking force yourself. Like I used to write a lot, and a lot of like my writing would get bought up by like ghostwriting companies, like blogs and like whatever. So I would write it and someone else put their name on it, like kind of stuff. And I always wanted to do more like creative, whatever. And I did, but again, like when you have something personal, you know, and I have this whole manuscript that I wrote originally as a screenplay. Now I'm like, well, maybe it's a book. And it's like, I'm only saying that because I don't want to finish it and whatever. And so I'm like blocked with that. And that's unfortunate because, you know, right in the middle of the pandemic, there was interest from, you know, companies in Hollywood for it or whatever too. So, but like, it's just sitting there and I'm like, no, I'm podcasting. I can't be bothered to write that. But like, I know deep down in my gut, like I'm smart enough to figure out like, it's not going to happen until I go and write a couple bad pages. It's like, these are bad, but guess who's writing? Daddy's writing again. So then that's like, I just need to push myself. And I feel that. And there's nothing harder than forcing yourself to do something that you don't feel like doing.
Yeah, it sucks. It sucks because I love doing the podcast so much, but I like to do solo episodes where it's just me, and I've recorded a couple and I just don't feel like they're good. I'm pulling, and you know, that's why I'm glad you were giving me shit because I took so long to respond to you and book this, but which I appreciate, and I'm glad you reached back out to me because I'm, you know, I want to create this formula for my show, but then I'm realizing like, who fucking cares? Like, you don't have to do a solo and a guest. Like, just put it out there. Like, put yourself out there. Go on other people's shows. Like, invite people over to get inspired. And, you know, that's kind of this week. I did a show yesterday, and now I have this one today. And I'm like, okay, you know what? We're just saying yes. That's what we're
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and first of all, I was not trying to make you look bad. I was trying to actually illuminate how psychotic I am for the audience, because they already kind of have an idea, but now we're giving them a little bit more, because I just get when I want something, I'm like obsessive compulsive nonstop.
Yeah.
And I gave you a break for like a month or two, and then I was like, you know what, I'm on this recording thing. She'd be perfect. So boom. Then I reach back out.
Yeah.
Here we are. And you're right. Sometimes you do have to say yes, even to like weird shit. Like that sounds kind of weird, but all right, fuck it, whatever. Because you never know what's going to come from it.
Exactly.
Okay, so the podcast Girl Stop Talking, it's on, it's coming back, and I'm sure your solo because I do this all the time too, like your solo episodes you think are fucking trash or whatever, I guarantee you they're not. That's just your brain like saying, don't release those, you'll look bad.
Yeah.
And so are we on a brief hiatus still, or we're just kind of trying to figure it out still?
I'm trying to figure it out. I dropped an episode today, and I have a guest on that one, and that's going well. Leo.
Yeah.
Sorry. We're on camera. He's so annoying.
That's so great.
He's
we love that.
Doing the most. Usually I have my squirt bottle so I can squirt him so he doesn't come near me. But I want to set something up for myself. I don't know if I'm prepared yet. So
sure.
I would like to at least post one a month. I think that's kind of where I'm feeling today, where I want to be is one a month.
Sure.
But, my release date's on Mondays. If I can get 2 out bi-weekly, that's always the goal. I'm hoping that my creativity will be coming back a little bit.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of episodes that are available for people to listen to, because I listen to some of them as well. So they can go and listen to that. And by the time this airs, you never know. You might have a fucking a moment
Epiphany.
where you just fucking go for it, right? But what's the elevator pitch for your podcast?
Okay, so right now I'm doing a lot of traveling and stuff this year. So I'm gonna start game planning to kind of tap into some of those things and be a little more consistent. The direction that I've been wanting to go with the podcast is what I do now. I guess maybe I should explain that a little bit, because I don't know if I really did, but it's a sex, dating, relationship podcast, some, comedic fun and stories, oversharing my own personal stories, to hopefully connect with someone else who's just as embarrassing as I am. And although I love that side, I also wanted to bring in a little more empowerment into my platform and the stories that I'm talking about in the way that will kind of open people's eyes to, more sexual empowerment of owning who you are, being comfortable, communicating with partners, with your partner, doing things for yourself that make you feel good. I've also feel like I've learned so much just from being in this space, and, really talking about how to properly communicate. And, if you're feeling anxious or a friend hurt your feelings, ways to guide you to be able to have those conversations so you're not talking shit about them to all your other friends, just little things like that. I kind of want to move into this empowerment space of, helping men and women being able to openly talk about sex and not make it weird. Where it's 2023, look at what's happening in the world right now. It's sex should be talked about.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And that's, we share a similar mission statement with podcasts for sure. I just felt fuck it. Let's talk about some of the crazier shit, because it's not that crazy, whatever. And I think there's, people who still want it to remain, oh, no, don't talk about or whatever. And I get those messages sometimes that they seem to get angrier as the weeks go by, but whatever, it's par for the course. Yeah. So I think I have a lot of questions. One, what would you say is the biggest thing that you learned from doing a sex and relationships podcast?
I think the biggest thing, And it seems like so simple, but it's really just communication. You know, I think like as women, in my experience, like it with having sex with men is I always expect like before I started this, I expected them to know what to do. I thought, well, I don't have to do anything because they're a man, like they have a penis, you know, like they know what to do. So like I'm just along for the ride type of thing, you know, pun intended, I guess.
That's great. That's great.
So I think like one thing that really resonated with me, especially recently, is I think we have, as women, we think that the man should know exactly what to do. And what we've realized as adults is that, you know, a female's orgasm can be very complex and difficult. And we still think the man should know what to do. I mean, that's crazy to me. I think that's like the biggest thing that I've learned is like, it's not a man's job to make you orgasm. And that might be controversial to some people, but that's like coming from a woman, you know, it's like, I think as being with a partner, it's your job as a woman to communicate your needs to your partner. And that's how the orgasm is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still the man giving it to you, but you know, you can't like, everybody's so different. You can't just expect every single person to know how to get you off. I don't think that's fair.
No, that is fucking giant. I mean, there's a couple different ways we could go at this point. And like, I totally agree that is something that, you know, the communication part plays like right into that. And, you know, I saw some fucking reel or something where, it was like they were simulating like what a guy did where he's like, and the listeners won't be able to see this, but YouTube, you're welcome. But like if the guy's like tapping on the clit and like going like that and like rubbing like that. He's like, did you come? And it's like, what the fuck? But like, I'm a man, you know, and I've done those things and expected those results because of whatever the fuck we're seeing and doing and hearing like, and the other thing that I would add to that I think is really crazy that I'm coming up against more and more and more doing this show is on the internet, you know, there is so much advice, right? Like take your whole palm and put it on the clit and then like whatever, just, or like hold it there, put pressure there. You know, the G-spot thing where it's 2 fingers up and then, you know, but okay, how far up and go like that. And like, and that to me is like, great advice. Appreciate it. But every single person's body is different and that person is right there. And although it might seem weird, you're so right. Just like, hey, does this feel good or does this trash? Like, what's up?
I feel like there's like one universal line that I feel like either sex could use. Okay. And it's like, if you want to ask a question on how to get someone off, but you don't want to be like, you want it to be sexy. Like I'll give you the first version. Okay. Like let's say you're a girl and you want to suck this guy's dick. You literally could just go and whisper into their ear and be like, I want you to tell me how you want me to suck your dick. Like, boom, done. Yeah. You're not even you just do the work. They're going to tell you exactly what to do. They're going to tell you what they like. It's not weird. It feels sexy. I'm sure a man would be extremely turned on. Like, oh, fuck. She just like whispered that in my ear. Now I'm going to get exactly what I want, you know? And then I think it can go vice versa too. Like if a guy wants to know about a girl, he could just be like, I want you to tell me exactly what you want, you know?
I mean, that is incredible advice, like incredible advice. It's simple, but it's like, it's hot. It works. Right. So I guess follow-up question, why do you think people aren't doing it? Because then they have to cash out and leave the bowling alley early, or why are people not being as direct?
I don't know. I think it goes back to the same conversation of just not being able to communicate or not knowing how, or maybe having like, I think for me, like I said, I'm always in my head. So I think sometimes like in my own personal experiences, I would be thinking about like, okay, I want to like dirty talk. Like I want to say this and I'm like saying it in my head. And then I just have to tell myself like, just fucking say it.
Right.
Like, his dick is inside of you right now. He's not going to care what comes out of your mouth. Like,
Exactly. Yeah.
you know, so I think it's just like the fear of like, for me personally, it was like the fear of like sounding stupid.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, I think like most men are just happy to be there. I don't really think in that moment they're going to be like, why the fuck did she say that? You know?
Yeah. And I would add to that, like, that's incredibly correct on both ends, I think, because I've felt like stupid, like, oh, I really want to say this like fucked up thing. And it's like, or maybe it's not even fucked up. Maybe it's like something basic. But I think that for some reason, it's our egos, right? Because if we have to ask, we fucking suck, right? And in our heads, we all want to be like, you know, women want to be like, oh, I got all these dudes off, and men, like, we're like, our egos are giant, and we want to say like, oh, I know how to get women off, or da 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 da, and whatever. And it's like, we're made to feel like we're failures if we don't know everyone's algorithm, which is so messed up. And that's something that I feel like really needs to be, conversations like this like need to be happening like more and more and more.
Yeah, exactly.
The thing that I would add to that is, and something that I do all the time is like, don't be afraid of sex toys. Like, if your partner does have complex, you know, orgasms or wants to take a long time or whatever, you suggest fucking busting out the fucking, you know, the Heater 9000 or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I like the last two. So for Valentine's Day and Christmas, I have bought my girlfriend multiple crazy sex toys. And I don't think she's ever had a partner that's done that, because she's just like, oh my God, right? And they're like these really intense kind of wild things. And like, I'm the one that's suggesting let's bust that shit out. And I think there's ways to do that where like, you can still, it's not like you're just like, you know, waiting there, like you having a good time. It's not like that. Like, put your face, your fucking face down there, right? Talk to her, use your hand.
Yeah.
Like you can do these things. And I think again, it just becomes like an ego thing. I mean, is that like totally vibe with what you are understanding about like men and sex toys?
I think it is, you know, I feel lucky, I guess lucky enough. Like, I don't think I've ever really been in an experience where like I've been with a man who felt weird about bringing sex toys into the bedroom. Mm-hmm. But to be fair, also, I feel like the sex that I was having when I was single isn't comparable to the sex that I'm having now. Mm. Like, I look back and I'm like, what, like, it, I like almost don't even have words, you know? It was just like flings and hookups. Like, there wasn't any like conversation of like, what do you like? What do you like? Like, let's try something new. Like, when you don't have like a consistent partner, mm-hmm. Well, I don't know. I guess I can't speak for everyone, but when I didn't have a consistent partner, I was like, well, I don't want to use like the same toy on like, you know, however many people. And I know there's other ways around that with certain toys and keeping them clean and whatnot, but that just wasn't a part of my life then. Mm-hmm. So I think now where I'm at and I'm in this relationship, it has opened up a plethora of conversation and, you know, stimulation and pleasure.
Yeah, no, totally. Okay, so let's have some fun and flip this around. Now, How do you feel about women using toys on men, right? Because now there's like these blowjob machines and like these like they're like fleshlighty kind of like whatever, and they're becoming more prevalent. But I just feel like there's still like big stigma with that. Like, would you be comfortable using a toy on your partner, or is that like, I'd rather?
Oh, yeah, why not? Okay. I don't care. I mean, like, we use toys together. I do feel like now that we're like talking about it, I feel like there are way more toys for women than there are men. Yeah. Which I guess makes sense. But, you know, we've used like cock rings, and we haven't used like what are they called? Like where you can like jack them off.
Yeah. So there's like there's an explosion in technology with there's literal machines that are like, you know, they're the size of like
where like simulates a blowjob, right?
And you can and some of them now, I just had someone on the show that were talking about it, but like some of them are voice controlled, so you can program it like yeah, baby, gag on it and it'll do a certain thing and shit. Like that's how advanced.
That's wild. Like,
yeah,
hell yeah.
Totally wild. Yeah,
that's
exactly.
So awesome.
Yeah, but they're basically like, yeah, like there's fleshlight, right, where it's like a mold of like usually a porn star or whomever's like vagina, and then you can fucking fuck that, and there's like all these different things, but it's mainly like strokers, they call them, right? So that's like the main thing for dudes that I've seen.
I feel like if my man was like, hey, can you, like, I want to use this toy, you want to use it on me, I'd be like, yeah, I mean, sure. But I also feel like if we're going to be together, he'd probably just want me to use my hands or my body. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no, I think like more power to you. I think like majority of people who are in commitments or really interested in, you know, like the sex exploration, if you will, you know, they're open-minded people and they're interested in pleasure for themselves and pleasure for their partner, or giving and receiving in different ways. So I think, yeah, fucking more power to you.
Right.
Know?
Yeah. Well, it's just a weird fucking stigma thing. I feel like in another 10 years, we're all going to have a chip in their brain where it's like we program whatever the fuck it is, and we're going to have to get over it. Right. So like buy each other sex toys, you know?
I feel like I can say one, like, not everything is for everyone. So I think if I was like dating someone and then he was like, hey, I have this like fetish which is which? Fetish or kink? A kink is, fetish is you can't live without it. Like it has to happen for you to come, right?
So like I ask this question all the time, and it's a fun question because it changes, right? And so that's my like sort of like watered down is is like a kink is something that like you love, it gets you off, right? It's like, oh cool, but that can change. But like a fetish is something like
you need it.
Or at least you desire it more. It's easier to get off with this thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So if I was like dating someone and they had this kink and they had like one of those like full, like real robot, like people, I think personally for me, I'm not sure if I could get into it, but you know, I don't know if I would be able to like celebrate that. Like I wouldn't judge, but I'd just be like, you know, there's some things that are for me and there's some things that aren't. So I think that would be like one of the only positions, but to each their own, you know?
So if you you know it's coming. So if you had a partner and he said to you like, hey, like we've been together a little while, or whatever, like I kind of have this thing. It's like really hot. I keep masturbating to it. I keep thinking about you and her. And you're like, where's this going? And it's like, and the her is like a doll, right? Like a realistic doll. Like I want us to all have a threesome. Like she's not real. I'm not gonna whatever, but like let's all just like fuck around. Are you saying yes, or you're like, I need some tequila? Like what? Like what? Because maybe after like a night out, it could be like a thing. I don't know.
I mean, do their fingers move and stuff? Like how intricate are they? Just like
I mean.
Stillborn, is that where we're at?
The stillborn sex doll, yeah. So I think we're still in the stillborn phase, but they are moving like to like start to like move and like be able to go into positions and shit like that. So let's say it's a stillborn.
Know. That was really bad terminology. I don't know.
I love it. I actually might name this episode "Stillborn Sex Doll," so whatever.
Oh my god! All sex toys were over the age of 18 in the making of this video. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I would really have to be drunk enough to think it was another person.
Oh, okay.
Shit. Like I think that would be like full blackout. Stacia's here. Tatum's no longer in the building, and you know maybe you know, but he would have to like put her away before I woke up in the morning.
And then you just don't remember anything.
No, like I would like to like like there's like flashes of like. Okay, yeah, that happened, but I don't want to like wake up in bed with like my man and the sex doll. You know you know?
Like, who's making breakfast? Right, exactly. What the fuck? No, that's great. That's fucking great.
What a conversation. I did not think that this is where this is going to go.
Right, well, welcome to Sex Party. Yeah. Okay, so, you know, not that we're going to top that, but what would you say? Because you said you do overshare, and like you call yourself, or you say, "Oh, I'm inappropriate," which I fucking love because, duh. I mean, whatever, right? Stillborn sex style over here, but like, I think, well, you said it, right? But I just ran with it.
Regrets.
No, there are no regrets.
Okay.
There's no regrets. Fuck that. The planet is melting, okay? There's no regrets. We're here
just
for a good
it.
time. Yeah, totally. What would you say is your biggest overshare on your show? Like, what is something you've like talked about? You're like, ooh, I don't know. Do I keep that in or what?
Oh my God. I mean, one like comes to my mind, but I think it's just like the explicitity, I don't know the word, but the like of the stories. Like if I'm telling a story about a situation or like a guy I dated and we like had sex, it's like all the details. So I just thought of another one, but I don't know if I've shared it.
Well, there's no better time like the present, Tatum. Totally up to you. You've already talked about fucking fucking sex doll.
No. Okay. I don't know.
It can't be that bad.
I think it's just kind of it's like gives a little like gross vibes, but it is relatable. Okay, fuck it. I'll just fucking say it. There was this one time I was fucking this guy in the shower, and we were like mid fuck, and he's like, what is that? And I'm like, what? And he's like, I can like feel something like hitting the tip of my dick. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, get out. I left my tampon in. So it was like last day, you know, and we had sex and I had my tampon in. So we're in the shower and I'm like fishing around trying to, I told you, I warned you.
It's not that bad though. It's not that bad.
Okay. I couldn't get it. I couldn't, you see these nails, you too? You see these nails?
Right.
I couldn't get it. I couldn't find it. So I was like freaking out and I was like telling this guy, like, I can't fucking find it. And he dead ass looks at me in the eyes and he's like, do you want me to try?
Fuck yeah. Yeah, I want you to try, motherfucker. Get in there.
Yeah. So he did and he found it and then he just like pulled it out and it hit the floor and, you know, then we went along with our merry way.
So did you guys continue to have sex or was that was done?
Yeah, no, we continued to have sex.
Yes. Yes, we love it.
I mean, we were in the shower already. It's like, who cares? And then I think the funny part of the story is we were at my friend's house in her shower. And then the next morning I like woke up and had to text her and asked her if she could check the bathroom to see if the tampon was still on the floor.
Oh my God, that's awesome. That's so awesome.
It wasn't. We cleaned it up. But yeah, so I think, you know, this is me. Hi.
Yeah, but this is you, but this is human. You know what I mean? Like I have like someone I was not to cut you off.
No, you're good. You're good.
It's just human, you know?
It's real life shit that like, I know I'm not the only one that this has happened to, but it's not something that everybody would go and say publicly for the world to know.
Yeah, but you're an innovator in that way. And that's why I think whatever you figure out with your podcast, it's going to fucking sing. You're going to fucking nail it. You're going to fucking, because of what you just did. The ability to laugh with the sex doll and the stillborn and the fucking whatever, right? And the that's what counts, because then immediately now we're in the aftermath talking about how no one does that and this, that, and the other. So whenever you figure out what you're doing with your podcast, I get these gut feelings about people. And again, it's why I wanted you here. It's going to fucking light up once you figure out what that formula is. Cause you just like, you have that thing that that almost all of my guests have. And it's just like, man, I have to have that person. I have to hear that person's story. And if we have a good back and forth, then we'll collab again in the future. So you have all of that, right? And you're not the only one that's happened to. I used to know this girl. She's a complete asshole. I'm not going to mention her name now, but like we used to be friends. She's a douche, but like, she's just very mean and weird and selfish. There's something under the surface there probably, but she hooked up with this guy. She was drunk. She really liked this guy. They wind up hooking up and he was like really fucking her like hard, right? And afterwards she felt like really sick and she's like hammered as fuck and she felt really sick. It turns out same thing as you. She left her tampon in there because he was like had a big dick and was like banging her so hard that it went so far up there that she had to go to the emergency room and have them go inside and pull it out. And
my God.
So you're not the only one, right? You know?
I did an episode with my gyno. She's also a client. I do her lashes. We did an episode talking about like women's health and just like crazy shit she's seen and had to like pull out of people's vaginas. And like tampons are like the number one thing along with, you know, a plethora of other interesting things.
Yeah. Like, okay, well, what's like number two? Tampons what's number two?
I'm not sure. I don't know if I can speak on that, but in the episode that we did, I think she said that she had to pull like a vibrating mouse toy out of someone's vagina because it got stuck.
That seems common, you know? Yeah. Seems really, I thought you were going to say like a frog or something. I was like, what the fuck? Yeah.
No, and the girl, she didn't even have a cat. So yeah, just kidding, you know?
I mean, that's, you know, people are curious and sometimes, you know, they don't want to wait for the Amazon guy. You might as well just shove the cat toy in there, whatever.
Oh my
God. So you for your Valentine's Day episode, which is very good, by the way.
Thank you.
You did this segment on your hoe phase, right? And you kind of like you laid out rules for women having a hoe phase. And I thought like we've touched on this a little bit on the show here and there, but if you could like recap that, but also like the stuff about how like don't do this and this, right? Because if you're gonna have a hoe phase, the idea is not to get attached, and this is how you not. And so if you could recap that, I think that's so valuable.
Yeah. For me, this was so important because when I'm a Libra and I am just fall in love so easily and I've like romanticized things a lot. So I think it's like hard for a lot of women to be single and want to be dating, but not over romanticize these guys or these relationships. And so to break it down like quick, I think some of the rules to keep yourself from falling into one person is you need to have a roster. That's for one. I also talk about like understanding your why, like why are you in the hoe phase? Like, what is your goal? What's your why? What's your goal? Like being clear on those intentions can set you up in really understanding like what you want and not getting attached to one person and then like, you know, crying for 3 days because they ghosted you, you know?
So true.
Yeah. So finding your goal, finding your why, and then having a roster. I think I said like 3 or 4 people. Each person can serve a purpose. Like you could be dating the one you're really interested in. You could be sleeping with one and have them being your friends with benefits. So you're getting your sexual needs met, but then you're still talking to 3 other people for like, okay, I know this guy, he's not the one for me, but I can at least have some consistent dick in my life because that's also hard to find. And then in the meantime, you can, you know, date 3 other people, determine what you like. I think a part of dating a bunch of people is you're not putting all of your eggs into one basket. You're kind of leaving room for like the mystery and you're not always available. Being not available is great. I think because for one, I think guys love the chase so much. So not always being free when a guy wants to see you. and then kind of going into like, once you start sleeping with people, if you're sleeping with multiple people or there's just one person, for me, I have this like tagline. So I'm like, there's like the one rule for sleeping with people is setting boundaries. Okay. If you don't want to catch feelings, you fuck and you leave. No cuddles, because cuddles lead to feels. You fuck and you leave. Okay. And how great is that for like, if you're seeing a guy, you have sex with him, then you get up, you put your pants on. He's like, wait, where are you going? You're like, oh, well, like I have plans after this. I gotta go. And then it's like, oh, wow, well, he's probably so thrown off. Like, you're not going to stay? No, I got to go. So I think for me, that was like the big thing, which is also just so fun to say. It's like, you fuck and you leave. No cuddles. Cuddles lead to feels. You fuck and you leave.
Yeah, no, actually, I had a thing with a girl like that, and it was beautiful. Like, because I love that. Because I was like, you know, avoidant attachment. Like, okay. And she was whatever. I mean, eventually she stopped doing that and was like, oh, I'll stay. And I'm like, whatever. But like, I like respected it so hard. You know, I was like, this is fucking great. You come over at 3 a.m., you leave at fucking 5:30. I mean, it's just like, boom. It was like a thing constantly. So we love that. Okay. I have this segment. I've recently brought it back to the show. I think you're perfect for it. It's called The Burner.
Okay.
It's more rapid fire. It's more juicy, but we've already fucking
done a lot.
Juiced the whole fucking thing. So whatever.
It's wet over here.
Yeah, I mean, there's fucking fluids everywhere at this point with this episode, and robot fluids, everything. It's like 10 or 12 questions. They're more fun. You can go through the burner or you can decline. So it's up to you.
Okay. No, let's fucking send it. Let's do it.
Okay. Question 1. Name something you wish men would stop doing.
Oh. Oh my God. I wasn't prepared for this. Okay. One thing I wish they would stop doing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sending unwanted dick pics.
Okay.
Just don't. Just don't
for sure.
do it. At least ask.
Yeah, I mean, you can't just fucking send the floppy dick. That's not. Yeah, don't do that. Name something you wish women would stop doing.
Thinking that it's a man's job to make them come.
Okay. Name something you wish you would stop doing.
Overthinking and self-sabotaging things in my life.
Ooh, spicy one. Yeah, see, we love, this is why it's the burner. Have you ever been to a sex party in real life?
No, but I want to so bad. I would love to. Me and my boyfriend were trying to delegate some boundaries and stuff like that. So I'm open. Yeah,
and like I think the thing about sex parties that people sort of don't put into their fucking logical brain is that if you go to a sex party, you can just have 7 vodka sodas and chill and watch. You don't have to jump right in. You know what I mean? So great answer there. Favorite guilty pleasure does not have to be sexual. It could be like some fucking candy or a Katy Perry song or something. I don't know, whatever.
Favorite guilty pleasure. Probably just wine.
Okay.
It's not that exciting.
No, yeah. Well, depending on how much you drink, it could be exciting. It's great.
That's true.
Name a person, dead or alive. You get to have sex with this person. You get to spend time with this person, but the catch is it's only for 24 hours.
Oh my God. Sex and time, but it's only for 24 hours.
Dead or alive. Yeah, it could be like a dead celebrity or something.
Wow, that's so hard. I'm literally trying to think of like celebrity crushes.
Yeah, you're on the spot. I mean,
I know.
That's the burner.
I have a thing for like, I've always had a thing for older men. So I think I just gotta go with like with John Stamos.
There you go. That's a great answer. There you go. Okay.
But I feel like the late 90s version.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's your day. You get 24 hours, the late 90s John Stamos. You would not be alone in that choice. Backstreet Boys or NSYNC?
NSYNC.
Spice Girls or Pussycat Dolls?
Oh, that's fucked up.
Yeah, I know.
That's fucked up because I think like who I am as a person, but here's the thing, like I was a child when both of them were famous, but I think who I am as a person is full blown Pussycat Dolls.
So that's your answer?
I think that has to be my answer.
Okay, I can see that.
I had coordinated garage dances with my neighborhood friends in 5th grade to their songs. So
loosening up the buttons, yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Okay, in the garage, love that shit. Okay, briefly tell us one of your craziest sex stories.
One of my craziest. Oh. I don't know how honest I can be about it.
You can change names.
You'll have to listen to my episode called The Anal Diet.
Perfect. The anal diet?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I had anal questions on my thing too, and we didn't even get to them, but whatever.
Next time.
Yeah. There's always room for anal. Okay. So favorite comfort movie or show? Like what are you like falling asleep to like the Office or maybe Full House because you're John Stamos or what?
I go through phases. I think like all-time favorite show that I had gone back to for so many times is The Vampire Diaries or New Girl. Both of them just, kind of brain melting. I've seen them so many times. Or like reality TV if I don't really want to pay attention.
Yeah.
But want something on.
Those first two feel like two parts of your personality to me. So that's perfect. Yeah. Totally, for sure. Most used app on your phone?
Instagram.
Okay.
Without a doubt.
Flaming hot or probably not? So are you like a fan of flaming hot snacks and shit?
No, not really.
Okay, probably not. Best kind of music to bang to?
Oh, I think we do like a lot of like deep house or progressive house music. Not really a lot.
Answer.
Yes, not really a lot of words, but like the beats are there. It's vibey. Yeah.
Yeah, you're either like in a Blade Runner city or like out in space. Like I totally fucking get it. Yeah.
Yes.
It's good to work out too sometimes. So there's that too. Do you have a Finsta? Do you have a fake Instagram account?
No, I don't. I'm not on the trend. I have 3 Instagram accounts
Okay,
because I like all the things I do, but no fake one. Nope.
Oh, well, the look you gave, you're like for a second, I thought she had one. I don't know, whatever. Okay, so you do not have a fake Instagram. Okay, final question. You do not have to say names, whatever, but say something, make a statement to one of your exes.
Wow. Oh my God, which one? There's 2. I don't know. Actually,
totally up to you.
I'm going to coordinate both of them in one. I truly hope that you can get some help.
Tatum Zoe, thank you for being on Sex Party. It was my pleasure. This episode was so much fucking fun. Let's tell them where they can find you, where they can badger you for episodes and whatever.
Okay, awesome. First of all, thank you so much for having me. I had a blast and you're so easy to have a conversation with. So, thank you for allowing this to happen.
Yeah.
You can find me on Instagram, Tatum Zoe, Zoeee, 3 E's. Girl Stop Talking podcast on Instagram, Girl Stop Talking on YouTube. I have a couple videos up there, not a whole lot. And yeah, that's really it. My main plug is Instagram, and then I got the YouTube channel. You can find my podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Yeah, and we'll link everything in the show notes so they can easily find. Thank you so much for being on the show. This is a fucking blast. We have to do it again. So, I could see you and I collaborating regularly, so they can look forward to that. And yeah, we'll talk soon.
Okay, absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks. I told you it was a fucking fun one. Thank you to Tatum Zoe for being on the show with me this week. Tatum will be back. I think we're going to be collabing on a ton of stuff in the future. She is awesome. Go check out all of her stuff. If you guys want more guests like Tatum, if you want to see Tatum again, if you love Sex Party, if you want Sex Party merch, how do you show that love, that desire, that appreciation for more? If you're listening on platforms like Apple and Spotify, you can subscribe to the show. That's the most important. You can also leave a rating. You can leave a review. You don't have to. I would appreciate it if you do. If you're watching on YouTube, I love you. I see you. I appreciate you. You can like the video. You can subscribe to the channel. You can leave a comment. As always, you guys can find me in the DMs on Instagram, and I will see you back here next week.
Thanks for listening. The party continues next week. Click subscribe and let's make this a regular thing. Follow the show on Instagram and Twitter @SexPartyFM. Follow Dustin @DustinRybka.